So on the F100 swapped patrol that's being powered by an LS, what I want to do is utilise the factory Nissan brakes, the factory Nissan booster, pretty much, yeah, all of the factory Nissan parts except for the pedal. And my idea behind that is the F100 cylinder is going to come off and we'll bolt the Nissan Patrol unit up here. Now, in typical fashion, nothing's that simple. So the Nissan Patrol unit has 4 studs, similar to the F100. However, if we go through the hole where I want it to go, it, 1, doesn't fit, and 2, is going to have a few issues. So what I want to do is I'm going to make up a spacer, and it's going to be an adapter spacer where it bolts onto these studs. These studs will probably get chopped down and then mount up to these factory bolt holes as well. So I might go and have a play with that and see how that goes. So I brought my measurements in from the Brake Master booster, and these are the Patrol ones, these are the F100s, and it's a little notch that the F100 has above it. Doesn't look like it's a massive amount over, but it is quite significant. So from there I extruded out the base shape of the piece that's going to bolt to the F100 body. The way I wanted to do it is have the booster bolts get chopped down, and these main bolts will hold the adapter onto the F100, so we don't have to drill holes in the body other than opening up this hole. From there, brought the thickness out, so this is sort of, you know, both sides. Apparent obvious issue is how you're going to get the bolts in if this is bolted up against the brake booster. So drew another sketch and cut this section away. Now it doesn't really look like it's going to be much fun to get the bolt in there, let alone do it up, so we'll put a nice big radius over to here. From there we're going to do some more radiuses, just tidy this edge up just so it's a bit nicer. I decided that I'd like a little bit more depth in these pockets, just so that there's a little bit more room. And then from there, added 2 fillets, just so that it gives it a nice free-flowing edge. And then some chamfers on the top and some chamfers on the bottom. And then moved into the manufacturing workspace so that we could take it over to the CNC and machine it and see how it goes. So the CNC's gone and done its thing, and we're now left with a bracket that looks like this, which has the benefit of this fits over here. these studs will get cut down, this will get bolted, and then from there you'll get at the bolts and tighten up the bolts that mount to here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the booster, and yeah, we'll see, bolt this up, work out how much I need to open up the firewall to accept it, and then we'll make up some sort of mount to adapt this to the F100 pedal, I guess. And of course, we can make it so the idea behind this bracket is it will bolt up here and sit nice and flush. And as you can sort of tell, we do have to open up the hole a little bit, but other than that, it's going to work quite well. So now go ahead and bolt this on and mark the bracket, and then we'll open it up. So I've opened up the hole, and then I've cut down the studs on the booster, bolted up my bracket, and theoretically it now should beautifully. It'll bolt up like that and be fantastic. So I've got the bracket fitted up with the booster and the master now bolted up, and yeah, I'm really happy with how that's come out. There's a good bit of clearance there, it fits really nicely, nice and tight against the firewall, which is what I want. I'm going for a bit of a clean look on this vehicle. I'm gonna jump into like the cab and we'll go through what I've done there. So I've gone ahead and got the pedal hooked up. I've used a little laser cut bracket and a nut welded on to hook up to the Patrol booster rod, and then adjusted it to a point where I like it. Now, normally the Patrol, normally the F100 pedals sit quite high, and compared to a modern vehicle, it's a very weird feeling having to step onto the pedal instead of just sort of moving your foot over. So I've dropped the pedal quite a bit lower than normal. Now that does mean that I'm going to have to move the brake light switch, but that's really not a major problem. The pedal gives a really good feel now. I've gone ahead and put a dial indicator on the front side of the master cylinder, and with me 2 feet on the pedal and standing on it, it doesn't seem to move much. So really happy with how that's come out. Yeah, that about wraps up today's video. I know we haven't gone too much into depth on this whole project. It is all being filmed, and it will come out as I manage to get time to edit, but this was just one of those ones where trying to clear the headspace a little bit, and thought, well, maybe I'll chuck a YouTube video up and see how it all flows. So this is a GU Patrol chassis, dent side F100 body, and yeah, it is going to be powered by an LS1, whether that's going to be turbocharged or supercharged. At the moment, we're not sure, but yeah, stay tuned for more updates. The next video will be looking at modifying the steering column to match up to the Patrol steering box, keeping a fairly factory interior. That's the main sort of goal, is use as many factory components as possible without major modifications to either the Patrol chassis or the F100 body. Even with the brackets that we've made, everything bolts on. So if you wanted to take this body off and put it back on an F100 chassis, away you go. If you wanted to put a Patrol cab back on top of this body, away you go. Yeah. So that's it for today. Any feedback would be fantastic. It does take quite a lot of time doing these videos, and yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks guys, catch you next time.